Hi, this is Nancy. Today I'm continuing to go through old blogs and do an updated kind of take on some of those. And the next one was one of my old blogs that I had named What to Do. And it was talking about what to do in difficult situations when someone that you love is going through something difficult. For me, at that time, way back when, it was signing divorce papers. And I wanted to talk a little bit just about like what kinds of things can you say in those situations and what kinds of things not to say, right? So, and there can be different situations as well. What to do when your friend tells you, hey, I just found out that my spouse is having an affair. What do you say to that? My father just passed away. It's the best thing to say in that situation. What do you do? How do you best support someone that's going through something exceedingly difficult, like one of these huge life changes? And so the best thing that I can say kind of globally about this kind of a situation and what to say is probably less is more. In those kinds of situations, people may not just want to talk about it. They might just want to process and sit and just even not be alone in those situations, but not necessarily look at, well, what kind of logistics are we going to face now that this has happened? We have to deal with the will, or we have to figure out if we're going to stay married, or, we have to determine, how am I going to support myself or pay my bills now that my divorce is final? Things like that. Those kinds of logistics and delving into those and asking those kinds of questions right out of the gate, not a good idea. And so also I can tell you too, even if people in those situations might even reach out and ask direct questions like that, what do you think I should do now? It is not always the best idea to think that they actually do want you to answer that question. They might just be, you know, thinking about a hypothetical even. And so delving into some of those heavy questions right out of the gate might not be the best idea. And so what I have come to find is that people going through those kinds of situations, less is more. And so when I can think back to those days right after signing my divorce papers, the best thing really was to not be alone and to not talk about it. And so the people that were closest to me during that time knew quite well that the best thing was to just hang out with me, just be with me, without asking a lot of questions. Just check in. Hey, how are you okay? But even that question might be a little bit difficult too, so you might even want to be careful with that. And so, hey, just thinking about you today. Sometimes the best thing is not asking them what you can do to help them. It's anticipating what might be good to help them. Instead of, hey, can I bring you some supper? It's just a small tweak. It looks a little bit like, I'm going to leave you supper on the porch tonight. So you can throw it in the freezer if you don't need it. But I just wanted to make sure that you had some food on hand. Things like that. Not what do you need? Hey, do you need me to do anything for you? Figuring out the list of things that need to be done sometimes even in and of itself is overwhelming for someone who's going through something big like the death of a parent or something like that. And so a lot of times the best thing to say is essentially, I hear you and I'm here. And so it always reminds me one time of this one guy that I was working with, and he had found out that his wife had an affair. And he said, Nancy, he said, only one of my friends got it right. And he said, I was sitting at the local pub, and I had gone to have a beer with one of my friends after I'd found this out. And I told my friend what had happened. And he was the only one of my friends who got it right. And he said, do you want to know what he said? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And he said, man, that sucks. I just want you to know that I'm here. He didn't try to say, oh, you should leave her. This is what you need to do. He didn't say, well, what can I do? He just said, yeah, it sucks. I'm here. And left it at that. And so a lot of times when people are going through big things, less is more. And even asking them what you can do to help them might be overwhelming. So food for thought, keeping in mind that everyone grieves and goes through transitions and traumas and things like that differently. But those are some places where I'm always careful, and I approach with caution and staying back much more so than moving forward and trying to go in and help fix and help take care of it. I usually tend to stay back and just be present without making the situation harder for the person that's going through it, which sometimes it is if we're being too overt in that situation. We're too pushing too much. And so food for thought about what to do when someone experiences something huge in their life. So hopefully that was helpful. Food for thought. Thanks. Bye-bye.